Hi guys! So today we are going to try something a bit different. I'm going to use sugar cubes and I'm going to try and make all the number blocks out of sugar cubes. So here I've got, this is how many packs I've bought of sugar cubes. 1, 2, it's a different brand but it's the same amount. 3, 4, 5 and 6. And I'm hoping this should be, my maths says that this is probably enough to make all of the number blocks. And I've also got, I'm going to colour the cubes, which I've never done before, but we can see if this works. And I'm going to use this, some pipettes, which should make life easier than just dropping them on. It looks like this. Some pipettes, and also a new inkwell. My old one was really messy, just for putting the paints on. And I'm going to use edible glue towards the end to stick them together. And then to paint them, rather than using food colouring, which is what people would normally use, I'm going to use watercolour paint and see if that is strong enough. Now I have loads and loads of watercolour paint, so I just grabbed the first one available, which is this, because it's got lots of nice primary colours. I think I bought this from the Tiger store, and it's wheels like this, so it should have all the colours that we need. These are all the different layers, but you can use any watercolour paints. I mean, I've got so many watercolour sets, but like I said, I thought this looked a good one to do. So we should probably start off and do an experiment. So first of all, I'll open the silver spoon one. So I don't know, why do you use a sugar cube instead? Oh, they're not cube. Well, they are cubes, but look, they're more like rectangles, I think. So they're not perfect squares. Ah, let's be careful. Oh, there you go. So you see what I mean about the edges? It's not a perfectly smooth cube. It's close enough. And it's more flatter on the side than it is. It's not like a perfect cube shape. But for our experiment, it will do. I'm going to see if this works by getting my red. Which red shall I use? I'm going to use this one on the bottom. Got my paintbrush here. Probably need a few paintbrushes. Water. Mix that in. I put that there. See, that's quite sheer. That's not going to be. I think watercolour will probably soak in better than acrylic, probably. I'm going to keep getting some of the pigment, and we can change our minds. We can use, I have other things, I have liquid paints, I have powder paints, I have all kinds of things. But I just think that watercolour might be the easiest. And also it's easier to blend watercolour to get lots of different colours. So if I just suck up some of this with the pipette. It looks like that. So shall we drop it on and see how it looks? Ready, steady. Oh, okay. Because the other thing is, we can't make it too wet, because then it might all fall apart, which we don't want it to do. See, the colour it's actually holding halfway. It's holding, it's not sinking through. I thought it might have sunk through a little bit more than that. So it's looking like that, which is not bad. But I think we'd have to let it dry out a bit. The other option is to try, I have a gouache paint. Gouache is like an opaque watercolour, and that might look better, but I won't know until I try it. So it kind of looks like this, but this is pretty wet, and we'd have to let it dry out. So that's what the watercolour looks like. This is the gouache paint, so it's a bit of a mess because I've used it quite a few times, but I'm going to scoop out some of this. This is the red. See how, oh, can you see how thick it is? If I take a bit of that out and put it in the palette, it looks like this, and you can water this down a bit. It looks like this, and a little bit more water. That's a bit better, I think. Maybe a little bit more. That's pretty thick, but let's see how it looks. Let's grab another sugar cube. I'm going to suck that up. I think it's very thick. Let's drop that into the. Ooh. I think because this is so thick in comparison, it doesn't want to soak in. That's kind of sitting on the surface a bit. So that's the difference between the two. This one is more like, oh, well, there you go. Look at that. It's dissolving. It's completely falling apart. This one so far has kept its shape, but it might fall apart as well because it's getting pretty soft. How about if we were to paint it on the surface with the gouache paint? Now would that keep its shape?
Yeah.
Because I think adding any kind of liquid to it, even a small amount of cold liquid, I think it's going to collapse. So I'm going to paint this cube also, and then we can have a look at the end and we can decide what would be the best way to decorate them, because we want to make loads of them and then they all just dissolve within seconds. Because this first one here, you can see it is totally gone. This one is holding together slightly better, but it's still going to dissolve very quickly. This one, I think we may have to paint them all. I can see there, it's still quite tough. So it's a good one we did an experiment before we started doing that with the cubes. Okay, so I think I know what method we're going to use now. So the next part will be putting the cubes together. Okay, so now we've done our little experiment and we know what definitely doesn't work, and that's making the sugar cubes absorb a liquidy coloured water. We're going to try and paint them with a thick paint, and I'm going to use this kit, which I've had for a little while now. So the colours look, they're a little bit messy, but they work absolutely fine. And these are called gouache paints, so they're like watercolour but thick. And I'm going to try and work out what kind of blocks I need. You see, if you look at this, you see how thick textured that is. So that shouldn't, I don't think it will make the cubes melt. It shouldn't do anyway, hopefully. So I've got all my blocks here. So I'm going to start off and I'm going to start painting some of them red. There you go. Because what have we got? If I had a picture of all of them in one place, then I'd know what I was doing. So start off with number 1. So I started painting the numbers 11 to 20, but I was thinking what we should actually do is start separating them because they're starting to dry now. And this is number block. Oh no! I just dropped it back in the paint. Number block 1. But then we're going to start sticking some together. So, for example, if we get our 2 oranges together, this is the stuff I got. This is called edible glue. Now I think about it, we don't need edible glue because we're not going to eat sugar cubes, are we? But I'm going to see if the texture of this glue, ouch, makes it easier to stick the pieces together. I have to see. So I'm going to take a little bit. Let's take a bit of the orange. Let's take a nice flat edge. Oh, it's like sticky glue. Like this. And then I'm going to try and stick it to another. Oh, it feels like it sticks quite well. Because that would be our number block 2. Remember, these are sugar cubes, so they're not going to be perfectly shaped because it's sugar, and the sugar will of course dissolve and it will come off. So it looks like that. So I'm going to put that somewhere to dry. I'm going to stick together now 1 to 10. Okay, now I've got the first number block sugar cubes that I've made from 1 to 10. I'm going to see what they look like now. They've completely dried out. It's been a few days. 1, 2, whoops, 3. It has been about 2 days since I last filmed, so it's given it a really good chance to dry. Otherwise, it does stay wet for quite a while. All 6 is a bit stuck. 5, and then let's do the better size. Better size 6. 6, and now I don't know if these ones have actually stuck because these are kind of fragile. 7, and then 8 and 9 and 10. No, see, 10's still a little bit wobbly, so I can add a bit more glue and get that stuck down there. So that's the first ones, and I'm thinking now I'm going to skip and make the big number blocks. I'm going to make the ones 100, 90, 80, 70 because it'll take me a lot longer to do. So let me just use this brush. I'm just going to get a bit of glue to stick 10 back together, and then we are going to work on the super big number blocks. Let's see what we can do.
One eternity later.
Okay guys, now that I've finally finished gluing together my white sugar cubes, I'm going to add some details. And now because it's sugar cubes, they're not going to be very easy to paint on, but we can do our best. I've just got a paintbrush here and I've got some white acrylic paint on the side. I'm just going to try to add some little details. I think I'm going to do them in order that I see. So they're a little bit, can you see they're kind of crumbly? Because of course they're sugary. So the surface is actually quite rough. It's quite hard to get a smooth line, but I'll do the best that I can. And it's a bit of my black as well from my paint set. And I'm just going to go through and I'm going to do painting, and I'm going to add colour and details to all the different cubes that I have made up to 100. And then I'm going to show you guys what it looks like. And guys, it's time to do the melting. So I've got some hot water in here in a tub, and I've just dropped in number 1, number 2, number 3, here's number 4, 6. We forgot number 5. We'll find number 5 in a second. You see all the paints and all the colours there spreading at the bottom? Looks quite artistic. Ah, there you are, number 5. And then number 10. We're just going to zoom out here and show you. We're going to put them all in the same tub of hot water. So we're going to see what it looks like at the end. I think it looks pretty cool so far. And then we've got 11. And we're going to go all the way up to the 100 that we made. All these little bubbles coming up too as we drop them in. I think that's what the air trapped in the sugar cubes. And some of these are already falling apart. You know, the glue's not doing so well. And there's a little bit of paper where some of them have stuck to the back of the sugar cube. So that's where those little bits are. So what colour do you think we'll end up with when we've melted all of the number blocks? I think it's going to look like a purple. And we've got number 20 here. And then we'll go through all the 10s. Over 70. 80. And 90, which is really stuck down to the paper. And at this point you can't actually see the number blocks anymore because they're all at the bottom of the tub, and it's just all paint mixed with the water. And 100. There you go. And give them a bit of a stir here. Ugh. Big gunky mess. There you go. There's some little bits of melted number blocks. It's like a number block soup. Anyway guys, I hope you enjoyed that video. See you again next time. Goodbye.